my suckers. Hey, my suckers. Hello, everyone. Y'all, I don't know what's going on with this lighting. Your girl's just trying to look bomb and melanated. But, okay, we're just gonna have to just deal with this. Hi everyone, if this is your first time here on this channel, welcome. My name is Chisache, and I am one of Diamond and Chisache, obviously. Hi, I wanted to come on here, let's just talk a little, let's just talk. I think we just need to have a mo and talk together about things that I feel like are kind of obvious but may not be obvious, or sometimes you just need someone to just help talk you through things, or sometimes this could be like your sign of affirmation, or not affirmation, the sign of confirmation, there you go, on how to deal with this topic. As you can see from the title of this video, this is a heart-to-heart, a message to my first generation African Americans, even the immigrant children or Africans who moved to America at a young age, or middle school, high school. This is also to y'all, because we can do this. We really can do this all together to kind of help for the fight of, sorry, I keep checking the wig because this message, I just want us to, let's just talk about how we can talk to our parents, our families, about what's going on right now in America. I know things have I feel like social media wise things have kind of died down, which is really unfortunate because hello, there's still so many injustices that we need to fight for. There's still, none of the problems have been fixed actually, and it's gonna take years. I want us to keep the momentum going. As Black people, we know how to do that. We've been doing that for over 400 years. Hello, going on to 460, you know, post colonialism, post what? Post segregation. We're in this era of neo-colonialism, you know, this new political systems, new racist, not necessarily new, but just systemic and systematic racism, but in different forms, you know? So how can we talk about this with our families who like to consider themselves not Black, which honestly, respect to them. Like, I understand where they're coming from. I understand where they're like, you know, I understand the disconnect, because it's just like, oh no. I grew up in Africa. I know where I'm from. I know my culture. I know my language, all these things, like all these rhetorics that, you know, that they disconnect themselves with Blackness. And being Black, the term Black is a social construct, just how racism is a social construct that was used to, there's a whole fly in my room. You know when they just start buzzing and like hitting into walls and stuff? That's actually annoying. Social construct terms that were used to oppress us, to keep us as inferior people, to dehumanize who we are. But I think this is where the disconnect is. It's just like, oh, I am not Black, I'm not American, so those are not my issues. But when they actually step foot into this country, it is your issues, because suddenly the world is looking at you as Black. You are the same skin tone, same skin color that has been perceived here on this land for years, okay, for centuries, over 4 centuries. And so now you're Black, you know? And I think growing up in this culture, I would say growing up African in America comes with its struggles, because it's like you're growing up with the American culture, but you're being taught African ideologies, African morals, African mannerisms, and it's just this going back and forth of like, you're kind of being a little traditional there, auntie, what's going on, what's up, and then they're like, you need to learn how to cook. You need to learn how to clean. I need to stop. I can't even do like impressions. But you know, African aunts who are always on you for like X, Y, and Z, always knowing your business. And so just growing up with, I would say, a term that I actually learned recently to pretty much describe my feelings of this is this dual identity. And in the sense that you are African American, you know, you have an African culture, but you also have an American culture that keep battling with each other. And then when certain ideals come up, like for example, one I can use is about LGBTQ. Africans they have their own racist mindsets too. They have their own very traditional mindsets that clashes with the American mindset, I would say, for certain topics. So under Obama's administration that helped legalize same-sex marriage, I remember like my mom making a comment saying how, ooh, I love President Obama, but for this one, I'm gonna have to like disagree. And I was just like, well, I think it's okay. And I did not know that was going to be it for me. I did not know it was gonna be over. That conversation ended up with me crying and my mom thinking I was gay. And I'm like, no, I'm not gay just because I support LGBTQ plus rights. I'm not gay just because I understand and hear where they're coming from. I'm not. I just support them. You can support ideologies. You can support different things even if it has nothing to do with you. I told my mom that them being gay is not going to affect my life. So let them live their lives. Let them, if they want to marry a man, if a man wants to marry a man and a woman wants to marry a woman, if two non-binary people want to marry, they want to marry each other. Love is love. And as Christians, that's where we should be coming from. We shouldn't be judging. We have no room to be judging. And my mom, I mean, she's not so like stuck on this idea anymore, but at that time it was very like, you could see like the American side versus the African, and it's just like always butting heads. So how do we get through this? How do we start having these conversations with our parents or even family members, cousins who are having this mindset that what's going on right now has nothing to do with them? Hit them with the facts. So step one, this is what I would do, okay? I'm not saying go ahead and start like being defiant and stuff to your families. I'm just saying come to them in a very respectable manner, but not respectable, but a very respectful manner, but still be headstrong, still be assertive with yourself and with what you believe in, because they came to this country, like they said, and gave birth to you in this country, raised you in this country, wanted you to be fruitful of the resources of this country. And so show them this is how I am being fruitful. Okay, so I'll hit them with the facts. Civil rights movement was led by MLK, right? This happened in 1964. So what happened in 1965? The Immigration Act, which was signed by President Johnson because of who? MLK. The whole reason immigration policies change and you see a sudden movement, a sudden shift, a sudden emergence of immigrants in America was because of the Immigration Act of 1965. So the whole reason that a lot of immigrants are here today, a lot of them are because of the Immigration Act of 1965. Hit them with that first, and then be like, Over the years, having conversations which had conflicting opinions have always been somewhat hard with my mom. There's some things I'm just like, you know what? I'm gonna just let you be with that one. But as I get older, you find your voice, and it is hard to have these conversations. It's hard to change the African mindset. It's so in there, you know, it's so instilled in their culture and minds. And honestly, sometimes I've learned, like, to an extent, to give them the benefit of the doubt. Some of them are just too old to even, like, go into certain conversations, and some of them are your parents who you can challenge them in this way because it's like you grew up here. Use that Americanness. You know what I'm talking about. If you know, you know. Use that Americanness that helps you get away with a lot of things. To my Ugandan people, I use this sometimes. I understand most of the language. Speaking is another topic, but I understand, like, if somebody has a conversation about politics, I got you. I can sit there and understand what the heck you're saying. So use that. Like, sometimes you have to play dumb and be like, oh, I didn't get that. Oh, sorry, what does that mean? Or sometimes, like, I know respect is such a huge thing in the African culture, you know? So, oh my God. Respect is such a huge thing in the African culture. Huge. If you talk back, if you speak up to an elder or anyone just older than you, people look at you sideways, like sideways. Growing up, I've had my moments, you know, of being silenced. I've had moments of being silenced because it wasn't my turn to speak. And I used that to my advantage. I was like, I knew that I could get away with things just because I was born and raised in America. So when it came to talking back, mind you, I'm a very respectful person, okay? I know my stuff, okay? You know, if you know, you know those moments where you can really get away with certain things, you know. And so when it came with respect, I remember this instance that happened with my family, within my family, that somebody said something really negative to my little brother, and I spoke up in that moment. And mind you, this person is really older than me, okay, really older, and I said that's not okay. The shock that happened when people found out, and mind you, people in our community found out so soon. Things just, but I'm seen as the golden child in the Ugandan community, so my reputation didn't suffer, to be honest. Really, it really just didn't, because people understood where I was coming from. But they're like, she's raised in America, I can get away with that. When this whole argument blew out, I simply said that was not okay. You can't say that to him. You don't know what that means to him. And I got up and left that conversation, like, because I remember we're all sitting down and eating dinner. I remember, like, we had people over sitting eating dinner. I got up in the middle of dinner, put my plate down, and mind you, it was my turn to wash dishes. I said, and my grandma told me, Sacha, you better come back here and sit down, eat your food, and wash the dishes after. I said, Jaja, I can't. I'm sorry, but I can't. The dinner was at our house. I went up to my room and I stayed there. And I remember every time that person had come around for, I believe, the next few weeks, I want to say at least a month, we'll say at least a month for simplicity, because this happened when I was like 14. I gave them the silent treatment. And mind you, if you know, in African families, in African communities, you have to greet everybody. You have to greet, if there's 100 people, you greet every person. And in the Ugandan culture, women have to kneel down to greet. That's just a sign of respect to people who are older than them. So you can just imagine, I would be kneeling, and then when it came to that person, I would just ignore their existence. That was a huge thing, and that really taught me, I believe, how different we are. And that was my first exposure to, I've always had this internal conflict of, I'm American, but I'm also Ugandan, you know? And how can I say things clearly so that people understand where I'm coming from? How can I make sure that my parents are not going to judge me, or my family's not going to judge me for X, Y, and Z? And it was hard. and it's not going to be easy, but I really encourage all my first generation people out there, have these conversations with your family. Have them, and it's going to be hard. If you cry, you cry. I'm a crier just because, again, I was silenced. I was not allowed to speak up. I was not allowed to yell. I was not allowed to act crazy. I mean, either way, I wouldn't have acted crazy. But because of that, I learned how to internalize my feelings, which is very bad, not healthy. Don't do it. But I internalized a lot of my feelings and normalized a lot of negative feelings. And because I wasn't allowed to express myself, I started crying. So so when I'm angry, I cry. When I'm sad, I cry. When I'm happy, I just smile. But like most feelings, if somebody silences me in any way, if I'm frustrated, I just cry. I'm just like, but it's just like that tough cry, like the one tear, but your face is so straight, you know? You know what I mean? So yeah, they have to understand that they're Black too, you know?